Hey, this is Ashley Cook, and you're streaming the Gaining Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Schreiber.
Into the ground, never till now.
Welcome to the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Schreiber, brought to you by Arlo Revolution. Each week, Aaron connects melodies and memories with fans and artists from all genres of life. When all else in life is gone, only music will be left to leave the legacy of life's adventures. Please welcome your host for the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast, Aaron Schreiber.
What's going on, everybody? We're going to go ahead and get everything sound checked, make sure we're live and well and good to go. How's everybody out there doing tonight? It's gonna be a good week. We're getting ready to go to Mississippi tomorrow. A nice little long drive. So if you guys are in the chat, let us know what you're listening to tonight or watching from tonight. We're gonna make sure everything sounds good, and we can get rolling here in a second.
Sounds good on my end. Can you hear better?
Yeah. Did you turn the heat off or no?
No, I asked you if you wanted me to turn the heat off.
So I asked what I hear then. I hear the heat buzzing.
Yeah.
Okay. That should be all right.
I'll see if I can get it to turn off.
What are you going to do, text somebody?
Yeah.
Oh, man, Lorelai, we are going to be really close to you. We're going to be in Corinth tomorrow night, later tomorrow night. So Jillian's grandma passed, and we're bringing her home. So, yeah, we're bringing her home this week, and it's gonna be a good week, though.
Yeah. I'm excited to go and see all of our family, but I'm, under different circumstances.
Always
for sure.
Different circumstances. All right. So everything sounds good in your ear?
Everything sounds good on our end. Let's go.
All right, y'all. Hello and welcome everyone to season 5 of the Gaining Fast on Memphis podcast, a place where we connect melodies to memories. I'm your host, Aaron Schreiber. You messing up this week.
I'm your co-host, Jillian Schreiber.
Our mission tonight is to provide a platform for motivated singer-songwriters, passionate fans, or someone who is making a difference in and around the music community. We hope everyone listening leaves inspired with a positive outlook on life and begins connecting their own melodies to memories. Tonight we are presented by our good friends at Arlo Revolution, cinematic wedding films, music videos, and promos. Find them at arlorevolution.com. One tree planted. For every 1,000 downloads of the show, we plant a tree with one tree planted. Download the show on your favorite podcast app today. Pod-Decks. Pod-Decks are our hottest tool to get your next great interview, unique interview questions in the palm of your hand. They will play a major role in the show here in a little bit. And then our on-screen sponsors tonight, Art on a Higher Wire by Joelle, original and custom artwork inspired by your life moments, treasured photos, and memories. And Shed Services. At Shed Services, we offer a full range of maintenance services depending on your needs. Find them at shedservices.com. Tongue twister for sure. If you enjoy listening and are looking for ways to support or sponsor Gaining Fast on Memphis, then please head over to our Patreon page. We have new opportunities for on-air and on-screen sponsorships and merch, MP3s, photo tiers, man, just tons of stuff over there, y'all. Check it out. When you sign up, if you sign up for a full year, you get 2 months for free. Just a lot of cool stuff, like I said. If Patreon is something you can't do, the next best way to support the show is to like, share, review, and subscribe anywhere you find the show. If you're listening to this on a streaming platform, please click that rate button and help us out with a 5-star review. Remember, please try to join us live every Monday night at 7 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube, where you can interact with the show each week by asking questions and joining in on the live chat with your favorite guests. Visit our website, gainingfastonmemphis.com, for concert reviews, playlist links, everything Gaining Fast on Memphis you need to catch up on. So we do thank all of our sponsors for the continued support and growth of the show. So I am ready. It's going to be a fun one tonight. Y'all don't know who this is. Just wait.
I know. I'm super excited to talk to him.
This is going to be a good one. So, guys, tonight we welcome in singer-songwriter Wyatt McCubbin. I first got introduced to Wyatt's music from actually when he signed on to 50 Egg. I've been a huge 50 Egg supporter and fan. I started digging into a lot of his back catalog, and man, the more I dig, the more I just really love this guy's work and the songwriting he's put together. He instantly became one of my favorite singer-songwriters, and today I'm honored to discuss the melodies and memories that make up his journey. We're going to go ahead and bring Wyatt on. There we go. What's up, buddy?
Hello.
What's going on, y'all?
How you doing tonight, man?
Man, I'm great. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Dude,
Yeah, we're
I've been looking
excited.
forward to this, man. Ever since I got to see it, Joe's a couple weeks ago, man. Which amazing show, dude. It was cool to
thank
catch up
you.
with you and talk to you, man. Dude, I love that, dude. We gotta get you a full band coming back, though.
We do, man. I had a blast at Joe's. That was a great way to break me into the Chicago country music scene. I tell you that.
Hell yeah, you got a damn good crowd too,
It's
man.
a fun venue to play at.
It
Like
is.
I play, but to go to see a show at.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So a packed house, a hell of a good set, man. And what's cool is they were listening, man. Like I really like. I was running around the crowd doing some videos and some pictures, and you could tell that there wasn't many people talking because normally at Joe's you'll get a lot of that talking during the openers, and they kept it quiet, man, and they really paid attention because I think you got them, man. You really had them. You had them even in the palm of your hand with your set. But you kind of threw that together. It was really cool, man, to see how they took into that because they're hearing you. A lot of them were hearing you for the very first time.
Yes. Yeah, it was my first time in Chicago, and obviously my first time at Joe's. So
Yeah.
it's awesome, man.
I'm sure there'll be many more. So did you hear any cool stories about Joe's going into that show at all?
Man, so just being friends with other artists, I had always, anytime Chicago got brought up, Joe's was one of the first venues that was talked about, between me and several other, guys on their way up. Guys like Ray Fulcher and Drew Parker and, Eric Dillon. I'm slinging some 58 names for you there, Aaron.
Obviously, Drew Joe's.
Yeah, man, that Joe's was always in the conversation. So Josh Abbott called me out of the blue and said, "Would you like to come up? I'm heading up north. We're going to Joe's and we're going to Indianapolis to 8 Second Saloon, and we can write on the road, on the bus, on the way up and down, and you can open the shows." And I said, "Absolutely. Pick me up in Nashville. Let's go."
Oh yeah, man. I love how that works like that, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, we were very excited to have you, man. And like I said, even tonight, we're excited to have you on. Something I like to do and to start off all the conversations is throw it way back, man. Kind of what was going on growing up around the household, man. What was your parents listening to? What you're kind of growing up on? First musical memory you might have, or a first concert, man. First live music you might have.
First of all, I want to know who approved these pictures over here.
No.
I like to show the journey a little bit.
You're killing me, man. You're killing me.
Done.
You started young. That's what I was saying. You started off young, man. I like this, man. You're looking good though in these photos, man.
Look at that, man. Get that one out of here. But anyway, my first, I didn't start playing guitar until I was 14 years old. Now, with that being said, I was always amazed by music and loved music, and my mom and dad and really whole family were country music fanatics. And so voices like Tracy Lawrence and Travis Tritt, Merle Haggard, Loretta Lynn, all those like very traditional voices, not only from the 90s on, but from, way back. My grandpa was a huge Hank Williams fan, and I always had those influences around, but never once thought about really playing guitar until I was in middle school, playing football. I was big into football and baseball. Not that I was any good at them, but I still played. I broke my arm playing football, and they said, "Man, you might need some therapy with these surgeries. You can either come in here and take, physical therapy for your wrist and arm, or you can do something on your own, like guitar lessons or something like that." And I said, that sounds that sounds like the best option to me. So I started playing guitar and really caught the bug quick. Nice. And country music was always around, but then again, so was rock and roll and R&B and soul music. So I started out as a very angry middle schooler playing heavy rock and roll, just trying to make our neighbors love us.
Yeah.
Back home in Ohio. Man, it's just, yeah. So, but country music was always on the forefront of my mind. So it didn't take me very long to go from electric to an acoustic and really just dive in head first, man. So
I love that. When did you first get your taste of like live music? Maybe a first concert or something. You remember who you first saw?
that's a good question. Well, right about that time, one of my first, you'll love this story. There was a local radio station, and I happened to run into one of the DJs. I was about 14 or 15 years old. Me and my parents went out for lunch somewhere, and the DJ was doing a live remote from the restaurant, and he picked me out of the crowd and said, "Hey, would you like to go see Hank Williams Jr. tonight in Dayton, or no, it was Columbus, Ohio?" And I said, "Well, absolutely." He said, "Well, here's 4 tickets." So I was, like I said, country music. Once I started playing guitar, I was all about it, and Hank Jr. was near the top of my list. So I couldn't drive to the concert by myself because I didn't have my license. So I took mom and dad with me, and this is so funny because me and him are still buds. But I had a history teacher in as a freshman in high school that like was country. He was the countryest guy you'll ever meet in your life, and I knew he loved Hank Williams Jr. So I was like, I know this might sound weird, but me and my parents are going to see Hank Williams Jr. tonight if you'd like to go. So we went, and that was one of my first music, I guess, live venues, first concerts, I should say. But it didn't take long to start, being the guy on stage after that. So
Mine happened. My first concert happened a little bit, not too far from where you grew up, man. It was Wheeling, West Virginia. All my family's from, and I got to see Kiss. My dad took me to see Kiss when I was like 14, man, and I had the bug ever since, dude. Like,
did they spit blood on you?
Oh my God, I have a $5 bill still with blood on it, man. So my uncle, like before doors ever even opened, I was 14, man. My uncle's like, go. No, I was 15 because it was in '97, so I was almost 15. He's like, go wherever you want. So I went front row center, dude. I was like, I'm going on the rail, and all that, like, Gene went all the way up and blood went everywhere. And the only thing I had on me was a $5 bill. So I just wiped fake blood all over his face. I still have it, man. I saved it.
That's fantastic.
So, I mean, I always had the stories, man. I always loved those shows. And that's what made me a live music fan, because like what's happening in front of me, and just made me have an appreciation of a show, man. I was a huge Meatloaf guy too. Losing him was a big one, but just his show, man, the rock operas and stuff was just amazing. So that's what kind of got me hooked on there. But you talked about kind of growing up, and one of the cool things with Merle Haggard, dude, and like listening to him at a young age, you got to open for him. Is this right? Did I read about this? Dude, tell me a little bit about how full circle kind of growing up with that music, and then even getting to open up for a legend. And then tell me a little bit about this guitar you have, and it has a lot of pictures on it. I got one behind me that I collected a few. I got Singleton on there, and a few others. But
there you go.
I want to know about yours, man, because you got one that has some signatures on it. So tell me a little bit about opening for Haggard and into the guitar.
So the Haggard show came about when I started playing music. I started meeting club owners and theater owners and a lot of local just venues and people that worked in those venues. And one of those places was Clark State Community College. They had they have an auditorium, and it's called the Cuss Auditorium. Clark State Performing Arts Center as well is another name of it. And just got to know them. And I think I was 17 at the time. I had been playing in the area and doing well in the honky-tonk scene, kind of being a weekend warrior and going out and doing those shows. So they had heard my name and gave me the call. And when they gave me the offer to open for Merle Haggard, it was full circle because he was my dad's favorite. Yeah. Like, I cannot even explain to you how many cassette tapes. It had to have been, if it wasn't every one of them, he was only a few short. So to be able to go do that, but also to like bring my family and have them kind of stand side stage and get to be among the strangers.
Dude, how big was the smile on your dad's face on that one?
Oh my gosh, man. And the guitar that you're talking about was the first guitar I ever bought. I had saved up all summer long, baling straw and hay, with a bunch of buddies of mine, and I said, boys, I've got $300 and I'm getting out of here. You're on your own. I've got enough for a guitar. I'm going to go play some country music. So that was the guitar that I played a lot of those shows with, and anybody that was willing to sign that guitar, I gave him a Sharpie and let him go to work. So the first signature on that guitar was on the pick guard, and it's not this guitar, by the way. This is a later acquisition. I still have that guitar though, and it's kind of, I get it out and look at it every now and then. I'm still like, oh my gosh, look at all these. But David Allen Coe was the first signature on the pick guard, and Bill Anderson,
Nice.
Doug Stone, but then Merle wasn't far from that. And after my sound check, I stood side stage at that auditorium, and I waited, and I thought, if he's going to come through here and do his sound check, he will walk right by me. And the band kind of made it seem like he wasn't going to do it. It seemed like he would just stay on the bus and, not want to be bothered by anybody. But I wasn't taking no chances. I was going to stand right there. He was not going to get by me. I was fixing to tackle Merle Haggard to get to talk to him. So he walks. I'm standing there with the guitar, just chilling, and I feel something brush my arm, and I look down, and he had walked right by me, and it was the biggest chill moment, really, maybe to date. It was like, I don't know, he was bigger than life, and I was probably a head taller than him, but it didn't matter because he was the guy. Like, so when on his way back out to the bus, I had that guitar and a pen or a Sharpie ready to go, and I was talking 90 mile an hour. Everything I could do to talk to Merle Haggard, I was like, Mr. Haggard, I'm Wyatt. I'm opening the show. I'm from here, and I'm local, and I'm so glad. Thank you for having me. And the whole time he's signing that guitar, and he hands me back my pen, and all he said was, "Well, give him hell, son." And he walked to the bus, and that was it. And he dated it and signed it, and it's got to be one of the most special ones on there. I think
So that's why you give him hell so much now. All right.
I'm telling you what, man, I took his advice. That's all I can do, man. But probably my other favorite signature on it, I got to open for George Jones too, shortly before he passed. It was at a bowling alley, outdoor concert venue, killer place called JD Legends in Franklin, Ohio. Jones came and I got the offer, so I took it, man. There was no way I was going to miss that. I didn't get to meet Jones, but I had signed a publishing deal with a guy named Billy Yates shortly before this show, and Billy had written Choices, I Don't Need Your Rocking Chair, and Walls Can Fall, like several George Jones songs, like back in the 90s.
Yes, Billy Yates has some hits.
Yeah, man. And I was tickled to death to be working with him, but Billy came to the show and grabbed my guitar and took it on the bus and said, "Hey," to George, and George signed it, to Wyatt. "Thanks, George Jones." And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's golly, those figures are bigger than life to people who truly look up to them all of your life. And that's how I always was. So
those are legends, man. They paved the way for people like you, man. It's kind of laid the groundwork. Like I know I saw someone on Facebook the other day where we're like, who is the one person you want to meet? And I was like, dude, it's always been Chris Christopherson for me. Like he's walking right in front of me. Like I've been within 3 feet of him. I talk about talking 90 miles a minute. I do that easily. But when he walked in front of me, I was stone cold silent. I had no words. So I couldn't even stop the guy. So but that's one person that's always been on my list. But yeah, it's funny. The guitar I have behind me, I have probably 20 signatures on it. And I used to be a diehard Billy Ray Cyrus fan in the 90s. My mom loved the guy.
Like
we followed him around, man. I dug into some of his stuff. I loved some of his music. And I had him and his entire band sign that guitar. And I don't know where Jillian and I were. We were somewhere. And I had the opportunity to get like Sugarland and a couple other people on the guitar. I forgot who it was, maybe Big and Rich or something. and Shooter Jennings, Billy Dean, a couple of those guys. And I took Gugon and erased the entire Billy Ray Cyrus band
no.
just to clean it up and get it ready for some other autographs.
You had to make room.
I left Billy Ray's on there, but everybody
That
else
is funny right there, man.
Well, I still remember cleaning up some signatures, keeping Billy Ray's. But I was like, all right, because I think Billy Ray was the one that signed it really big by the pick guard right there. So I was like, all right, we'll go from there.
I mean, the signatures are cool, but I think the stories behind how you guys got the signatures is like, I remember doing the same thing, standing around and waiting and hauling the guitar around, and just the stories behind it is cool.
It's the biggest deal ever, just
It
to be able to stand next to somebody like I said you looked up to your whole life.
But it has, I mentioned a name that was on the guitar, and he's kind of a mutual friend of ours. But Jonathan Singleton, man, I want to kind of roll into that now. So Nashville, you go there, artist songwriting. You meet Jonathan Singleton. Tell me how you met him, and tell me about how the whole 50 Egg thing came about. Because you're within, you guys have a hell of a lineup at 50 Egg, man. Some amazing writers over there, and dude, Singleton he's just a badass dude. But tell me how the connection, how you kind of got introduced to Singleton.
Man, I had met him through another co-writer named Carson Chamberlain, who me and him have written hundreds of songs, and I probably had more cuts with him than anybody. And if you don't know about Carson, he's one of those guys. He's produced hit records, he's had hit songs, and he came to town as Keith Whitley's steel guitar player. So anyway, Carson had produced those Billy Currington records and had cut Don't on Billy Currington, which was a Jonathan Singleton song. And through that, they had become friends. And when I started coming to town and working with Carson, we were writing a bunch, and he was introduced me to a lot of co-writers. Jonathan was one of the names that got brought up. And if you don't, a lot of people don't know about songwriters, and that's to a fault. You think that Billy Currington wrote Dawn, or you think Gary Allan wrote Watching Airplanes. It's just the way your brain works. So I wasn't familiar with Jonathan, but my gosh, it didn't take me long to become a fan. We wrote a couple times and kind of hit it off and became buds. And several years later, I mean, this was 6 or 7 years ago when I first met him, maybe 8. And obviously fast forward all those years later, it was, 2020, the world had shut down, and I was fresh out of a publishing deal. It was just kind of a crazy time, man. There weren't any gigs. I had, that company was no longer a company anymore. And I was kind of just trying to figure some stuff out. And my friend Clay Bradley over at BMI sent out a lot of emails and really helped me get back in touch with several people that I already knew. And Jonathan was one of those guys that reached out and said, "Man, what are you doing? I heard that you're, out there looking for a publishing deal." And he's always been a big champion and supporter of mine. And on the other side, a guy named Blaine Rhodes at another company called Tape Room, which is Ashley Gorley's company. Yeah. They kind of offered to do a 50-50 kind of like a co-deal, I guess you'd say. And it was the best of both worlds. So it went from really trying to figure some stuff out to, holy moly, this is going to be a lot of fun. And it didn't take long for us to really get some stuff done. Maybe, 3-4 months into that deal, Jonathan had hollered at me and said, "Hey, man, be thinking for ideas for Riley Green, and we'll write something with him." And I had never met Riley, but we jumped on a Zoom, and I had an idea, and it was called Put 'Em On Mine. And a couple months after that, it was on his last EP called Behind the Bar. And so me and Jonathan got our first my first major label cut was with Jonathan. So that was kind of a cool first full circle thing for Jonathan to kind of take a chance on me, and then for us to get to kind of do a little celebrating there.
Dude, that is awesome. Yeah, I literally, we're going to talk about it here in a little bit before you play your song here in a little bit. But my two favorite songwriters is Singleton and Bethard Duvan, and us together. But even Ashley Gorley and Singleton producing you and having that behind you is just phenomenal, man. I know we briefly talked about at Joe's Tony Lane a little bit. Another one of your influences that you got to write with, but. How cool is it that, man, you hear these guys and the people that have influenced you, and now here you are in a room with them, and you got pen and paper in front of you and a guitar and writing with your
It's unbelievable, man, and it keeps you on your toes and makes you
I'm sure.
It really, really makes you focus on what you're doing. And I got to go to school being around these writers. And I mean, I came to town to be an artist, and that's what I am at heart. And I'm so thankful to be putting out music. But the songwriter side just happened to maybe shine first. And it was because of guys like Jonathan, Tony Lane, Carson, Mark Nessler, Casey Bethard, and Jeff Hyde. And oh my gosh, man, there's so many that just really, I should not have been in those rooms. But good on them. And if I ever am in their position where there has been success and a young cocky kid comes in the room and thinks he's got it all figured out, I hope that I can knock him back on his heels a little bit one of these days and really try to teach him something, because
you're gonna have it.
That was man, I tell you what, that I'll never forget it. I really won't.
I love that, man. I love that. There's cool stories all around, man. Like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about the Casey and the Singleton right next.
I hope I'm not talking too much.
No, we're running a little over, but I'm okay with it.
The stories are fantastic.
I'm loving it. A few of my favorites I just want to throw out there that you've written that you haven't cut, but House Band with Drew Parker, Things That Hurt, Jacob Bryan, Covered in Dirt, Ken Bryan. Those are three of my favorite songs that you've put pen and paper to, and I just love it, man. But dude, Ken's killing it, dude. I know we briefly talked about him, but Covered in Dirt is a song, and I just love it, dude. So talking about writing a little bit, and when you were living in Ohio, going to Nashville, you had a 5-hour commute. I was listening to a show or to another podcast. We were talking about kind of being on the road, and I know we just talked about you just got off the road with Riley and riding on a bus, and with Abbott when you came up to Chicago. For you, why? I mean, does it seem like when you're on the road, you're more creative? Like, is there something about that? Because honestly, when I'm in a car driving a couple hours, I get lost to myself and I get to thinking in my head and things come up. And I just listen to some of your past interviews. It sounds like you had the same thing. Kind of that's where you're putting some song ideas out.
That was a big, with all that windshield time, that really gave me a lot of time to myself, like you're talking about. And you think differently when there's no pressure and no one's sitting there staring at you, waiting for you to say something. It's no different than, and I don't know why it happens this way, but get on a lawnmower and tell me that you don't think about stuff that you've never thought about in your life. If you tell me that you don't, you're lying. You are lying, man. So when I was back and forth, that was some of the most inspiring time. And I don't have that as much anymore. My commute now is a 30-minute ride into downtown Nashville to Music Row, and I'm scrambling to get something together in that amount of time. But I will say, recently have been some of my first, bus riding trips. I've been on buses before, but never really to go out there and write. It's tough. It is tough writing on the road because there's so much going on, and you'd think with all the downtime between sound check at 3 and the show at 9 that there would be a lot of time, but it's nonstop. And you just get what you can get done. But the road, still rolling down the road, does something that makes you think just things you've never really thought about. And you might even have an idea that you've had for years that you've never twisted one specific way. And as soon as you do it, you think, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? That it was all right in front of me all this time. So it's just, it's still such a process learning how to piece a lot of these together, but it is, the road does something to a brain.
Yeah. I 100%, man. 'Cause that's some of the best therapy, man, is getting behind the steering wheel, putting on some of your favorite music, and just just getting lost. And
heck yeah,
I love it, dude. So I was showing a couple pictures. It looked like your wedding. You have an Illinois connection, which I love. We talked about you got married in Elgin, Illinois. I was born in Elgin, Illinois, which is
my gosh,
so crazy. But it's awesome. Tell me a little bit about your Illinois connection. I know your brother-in-law is Mo Pitney.
Yes, I married a beautiful blonde girl that I don't know why she's with me. Her name is Holly, and I had so we met kind of over the spider web of social media. Lots of mutual friends, I mean by that, and had never run into each other, but I had vaguely known Mo. We had written one song probably about a year and a half before me and Holly connected and started talking to each other. And it didn't take long to figure out we were both in trouble. Wedding bells ringing. So they're from Rockford, Illinois, and I'm from Ohio, and we thought in Elgin, kind of near Chicago, would be kind of a cool place. It's an old. We got married in an old, like, redone up fire hall. Yeah. There in Elgin, and man, we've been married for 3 years. Our third anniversary was January 5th. So
nice.
Well, happy late anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
Exciting.
Thank you.
I used to work for a radio station in Rockford, 97 ZOK. I'll never forget that.
Oh,
they're still around too. Yeah, they're still around. That was one of my first gigs I ever had in like radio and everything else. And then I had a guy offer me a job in pool construction. I was paying double what I was making in radio. I said, yeah. So out I went. But it was awesome, man. Well, what does 2022 hold for you, man? What's in the cards for you this year? Any new music? Any more shows? What are you looking for, man?
There are shows. I'm heading to Texas in, a couple weeks, I think, maybe. Yeah, a couple weeks. I'm in Texas. I've got 2 more shows in Florida with Midland shortly after that. And, man, there's some cuts that I'm really excited about on the songwriter side. This upcoming Friday, me and Eric Dillon wrote a song with Andy Sheridan here in Nashville, and Dustin Lynch had recorded it, and it'll be on his record that comes out this Friday. So that's a big one for me and all of us. So, and it's a country song, man, and it's so cool. We even got to reference. Well, I had never met Andy before, so me and Eric write every Tuesday. We've really become really close friends, and he's really tired of me after seeing me every Tuesday. But we had never written with Andy before, and we got to talking, and I said, yeah, I'm from Ohio. And he said, oh, me too. I said, where at? And there's a town called Washington Courthouse, and it's probably about 35 minutes away from where I'm from. So the first line of the song that Dustin Lynch recorded mentions a store called Pettit's, which is the grocery store there in his town, and I was very familiar with it, and I said, we got to do that. And Dustin kept it. We figured that he would probably hear it and then change it to whatever store was in his town. That's how some of them work. But it's called Something That Makes You Smile, and I'm really proud of it. So that's exciting. But I do have more music cut that I plan on releasing myself, and there's some songs that you might have heard in Chicago. One of them is a song called What Willie's Having. That we recorded.
I shared a little teaser on my YouTube on that. I figured you'd like that. I have a 420 playlist, man. The minute that thing drops, it's going on that playlist real fast.
What's funny is you said this would be a great late April release, and I thought, I see what you did there, Aaron. I see what you did, man. So yeah, man, there's a lot to be excited about, but the main thing is just having such a great team around me. I feel more inspired than I ever have, and I'm having more fun than I ever have. So
I love
that's what it's all about. Yep.
Well, before we move on to our sponsored section, I do want to ask you one question since we're talking a little bit about the Sustenance cut and everything. Have you ever had a song that you just did not want to get rid of, but you knew that it was going to be going to a good hands, or maybe a song that you didn't want to get put on hold, or that you really want to hang on to for yourself that got out there?
Well, usually if I'm that fired up about it, the short answer to that is no. I've never been put in a position where like a big major label artist wanted to cut something that I had on hold. I do have a song called Fly on the Wall that I plan on releasing along with What Willie's Having and a couple others. That song, there's been several of my artist friends that are kind of, in the same boat as me. We're trying to build this foundation, and they're like, "Man, let me cut that song." I said, "No, man, you can't beat me to the punch." And mainly it's because I don't write a lot by myself, and it takes me a long time because I am my least favorite co-writer. I will pick things apart, and it'll take me a year to write a song by myself. But when I really take the time, I've been very fortunate to wind up with something I'm really proud of. And that's Fly on the Wall is one that I wrote by myself that I can't wait for everybody to hear. So I've really been stingy with that one.
I cannot wait for that one.
That's exciting.
I'm excited for that one too.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to our sponsored part of the night, powered by Poddex. Earlier today, I pulled a couple cards out. There's also historians a little bit. They love their history. What 2-hour chunk of history would you want a video of if you could have a video of any point in history? So any historical thing that maybe there is no footage of it, what would you want a 2-hour clip of? I don't even know. That's a good one. I saw that card. I was like, I like that.
Interesting.
That's pretty good.
Is what 2-hour chunk of history would you want a video of if you could have a video of any point in history?
Can we geek out about songwriters for a minute?
Yeah.
Apparently, and it's a true story, but memories are apparently very blurry. Dean Dillon and Hank Cochran wrote The Chair and Miami, Miami in one night on Hank's houseboat. And I would sure like to have been a fly on the wall for that one.
Yeah.
That would have been, man. That would
cool.
have been a good one, dude.
Apparently, Dean looked at Hank and said, well, Hank said, I can write a song about anything. And Dean said, oh, yeah? Well, we'll write a song about this chair. And he wrote The Chair as well that night.
Oh, man, I love that. I love that story, dude. That's just one of the...
That's cool. Yeah.
I did a story. I'm good friends with the guys from Everett, and I did a story because they just cut Man of Constant Sorrow.
Yeah.
And I started looking into that song, and I got all the way back to the 1900s, and they asked this guy, or interviewed this guy, like, oh, did you write it? He goes, well, I don't know if I wrote it, or I can't remember it, but like there's it goes all the way back to 1800. Someone said that's the parts of that song. That'd be cool to have a little bit of a video when that song first came about. Now that we're thinking about that or going that route, I think that's where I'd go with that question.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. Find out where that song came from. Who actually wrote that song? So
yeah.
All right, this other one. I've asked this before, and I wanted to bring this one back. I really like this one. If you could go back in time and give your parents advice before you were born, what advice would you give them? If you could tell them anything leading up to before you were born, what would you tell your parents?
Be very patient with a young lad that likes guitars and going fast in cars and other very incriminating details. Yeah, patience is key.
Okay.
Patience is key. I love that. That is very true. We need that more and more every day. All right, buddy. So we're going to move on to our Connecting Memories with Melodies. I got 4 songs, 10 seconds clip of each song. I think a couple of these you're going to know. First memory you have to this song, just say it when you hear it. Fun. We Are Young.
You got me. I don't have a memory connected with that one. You tell me. What's yours?
He's frozen.
Oh, you freeze?
You're frozen.
Oh, you froze for a minute.
I'm here now. No, I said you stumped me on that one. I don't have a memory connected to that one.
Really? See, I was thinking maybe high schoolish for you.
What about y'all?
Oh, honestly, when I hear that song,
That's my jam.
I want to throw you under the bus. Normally, when we're on a road trip and I'm falling asleep and Jillian's up behind the wheel, next thing I know, I'm waking up and she's jamming out to that album. I'm talking about full-fledged jamming out to that album.
Love it.
That's my driving song.
All right, this next one, I'm sure he's going to have a connection with this next one.
Rainbow in the sky. Let you know the God's alive.
Dude. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about it, Joe's. Tony Lane, Better Rain, man. When you hear that song, where does it take you, dude?
It takes me to some of my first trips to Nashville because I learned about some of my favorite guys like that I had no idea existed. And when I dove into that world and someone gave me a record like that record and another record like Harley Allen Live at the Bluebird, it was off to the races, man. I wanted to be a songwriter more than ever.
Yeah, I love that. I know we briefly talked about all this stuff that you see behind Jillian and I. It's all Eric Church stuff. I ran into him in 2006, way young, and started following him. And I don't know if I had a picture somewhere of his brother, but about a month before his brother passed, he shared on Facebook some lyrics of Better Rain and about that. And yeah, I've always connected that song with him because we lost him about a month later. But it was just, I know he was going through some stuff, man. He put that song out there, and I was just, man, every time I hear that song, I get goosebumps anymore.
It's heavy.
We're going to go ahead and play this next one.
Let my love grow a spark.
Come on.
Yeah.
Have a little faith.
Ooh, buddy.
So when you hear this one, John Hyatt, Have a Little Faith, man. I know you covered it, so I had to throw it in there because it's one of my favorites. But when you hear that song, where's it taking you, dude?
It takes me to being a kid. My dad, of course, I remember the Joe Cocker version. That was the version that my dad wore out. Like when burning CDs was a thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
My dad wrote in all caps. I don't know why. He was always yelling when he wrote. And he would always write on the CDs, and that was always on there.
Nice, man.
That's a memory. That makes me smile right there. God, what a good song.
It's a good song.
I love it.
It's a good song.
So when I saw the Kiss concert, the one thing my dad told me was, don't tell your mom. Well, when I got home, I told my mom everything that happened that night.
He always does.
I literally got my first kiss that night during Beth. But
Well,
I told my mom everything.
what are you going to tell her, like, when you're covered in blood coming in the house? Like,
Right?
So my second concert was Hootie and the Blowfish, but the opener for Hootie and the Blowfish was John Hyatt, and this is probably late 97 or so, and I got to see John Hyatt, and I remember that song just it stuck to me. Like I know Eric Church has Springsteen talking about like connecting memories and melodies where you're at, but every time I hear that song, I'm back in Post-Gazette Pavilion in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm just hearing that song for the first time from John Hyatt, and just hair standing up in my arms, dude. So that's why I love that. I love that too. All right, this last one, we had to throw this one in there.
Nest of the free life behind me now.
So where does this take you, man? Where does this song take you back to?
all right, have you been reading my mail? You know what? That is crazy. You played that song. When I started playing guitar, you learn chords. And you just strum along, but there's a moment that happens when you finally can play and sing a song at the same time. That was the first song I ever played and sang at the same time.
Nice,
Awesome.
dude.
Ever.
So
That
cool.
right there. I wish
I wouldn't know
Ford
that.
and a Chevy would still last 10 years like they should.
Yeah,
Gosh,
that's
man.
more songs for this, man. I had Poor Haggard song, and I heard that one popped up right away. I was like, I'm grabbing
Love
it,
that
dude.
one. Yep.
Yeah, you picked a good one.
All right, we're gonna do our hot seat. It's kind of a little bit similar. 10
All right.
questions, really quick, 60 seconds. We're gonna throw on the clock. We're gonna see how far we get through these. First one, the first CD or vinyl you ever purchased.
AC/DC, Back in Black.
Hell yeah! One song you wish you wrote.
Oh, Live Like You're Dying.
Oh yes. Who has the best pizza you've ever had?
Oh, Ohio reference here. Let's go, boys and girls. Casanos.
Oh, okay. All right. I like it. The strangest thing you've ever seen in the middle of the road.
I hit a hay bale going through Louisville, Kentucky one time.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
What was the first car you ever owned?
It was my dad's 1993 Chevy Silverado.
All right. What's one
But
thing?
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Go ahead. All right. What's one thing people buy that you think is a waste of money?
Oh, my lands. Waste of money. I don't know.
We've had video games a couple of times.
Video games?
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah, that's not who you ask. I don't know.
You got me. Next.
All right. Where did you go on a first date? Any first date? Where'd you go?
Coffee shop.
Oh, all right. I like that. What TV show / game show would you want to host?
Well, Family Feud, but apparently I'm really bad at it right now.
I would have picked Family Feud.
What's your favorite microwavable food?
Popcorn. Is there another? That's the only one.
Why have we never thought of that?
Never. I don't know why. We get Hot Pockets all the time, but we never.
Hot Pockets are good.
And we eat popcorn. I mean, my kids would eat popcorn for breakfast,
dinner,
lunch, and dinner. I mean, we've had popcorn for dinner a couple times.
Come on, man.
I don't know why. We always eat popcorn. Never thought about that. That's funny that you looked at me when you said
So
that.
this last one, man, we talked about opening up for Haggard, Jones, man. You've done some cool shit. We talked about, I know, I slipped on that, but whatever. Writing with Beathard and Singleton.
That was a mom look. Sorry,
Yeah.
that was a mom
What's
look. Did
something that's on your bucket list? What's something that is on your musical bucket list that will make you feel that you succeeded as a musician or an artist, or what's something that you still want to do before you hang up your boots, man?
Well, in a really selfish way, I want to shake Willie Nelson's hand and maybe open a show for him, but I would just be happy just running into him somewhere and just letting him know how much I appreciate him.
I'll have to send you a picture, man. I got that chance.
No, you didn't. Dang it.
It's on my wall right over here. I got that chance. I went to an Outlaws. Well, they have All for the Hall. Keith Urban and Vince Gill do that every year. And I went one year, it was on Willie's birthday, and they walked him from his bus like inside the Sirius XM studios for a cake. And I actually was right there. That was about an hour before Chris Christopherson walked right in front of me too. So I just got done meeting Willie Nelson, and an hour later, Christopherson walks in front of me. I'm just don't know what the hell I'm doing.
That's unbelievable, man.
So yeah, it was one hell of a night, man. It was a lot of amazing talent in one building, but it was really cool that I actually got to take a picture with Willie. I was like,
yeah, you need to send that to me.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I hope that works out for you.
I love that. All right, y'all. So we're gonna close the show before we're gonna bring them back for the after show here in a few minutes. But before we wrap up the show, I want you to talk a little bit about one that I know means a lot to you. I can't count that high. So you're in a room with Casey Beathard and Jonathan Singleton, and this is what came out of it, which is this. Dude, wait till y'all hear this song. It's just, if you have not heard it yet, it's gonna blow your mind. I'm sure this was after December 2020 or so, after Casey went through a pretty big loss, or 2021. 2020. I was right. Tell me just kind of about that, about writing the process and just where this song came from for you guys.
So a lot of times I like to get prepared for a week's worth of writing by just putting a guitar in my hand. And in summertime, well, late summer, early fall, I love to sit on this patio and just be out there with the breeze and an old gut string guitar or whatever I pick up that inspires me that day. And I literally sat outside and I thought, how good do I have it? I mean, this is work. This is work for me. And I'm getting prepared for what people would dream of doing. And I knew that I had Casey and Jonathan that week. And I thought, I got to have something. And when I got to thinking about just how thankful I was that the title seriously fell out of thin air, which I know where it came from. It just knocked me back on my heels, and I thought, okay. So all I had was the way the hook sang, I try to count my blessings all the time, but I can't count that high. That's what I had. And I had kind of some guitar work, and I took it into Jonathan and Casey, and I didn't even think about what Casey had been through. And I didn't think, and if I would have thought about it too much, I probably wouldn't have brought it up because I would have been scared to maybe, you know, I don't know.
Just hit a nerve. I mean, it's
Hit
like,
a nerve, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So for those of y'all that don't know, Casey's son, it was tragic. He was killed outside of a bar here in Nashville. Just a crazy thing. And the Beathards are one of the best families. They're just amazing people. And for that to happen to them was so just crazy. I can't really even find the right words for it.
The last night Tucker Beathard and I both drank that we know of was 4 nights before that happened. He played a show in Chicago, and him and I were both drinking. And it was a couple nights after that, she looked at me and she's like, I don't know if I like you drink anymore. I mean, I work at a dispensary during the day. She's like, I'd rather you do that than drink. And I'm like, you know what? I never drank again. And about 6 months later, I talked to Tucker, and he goes, yeah, dude, that night in Chicago, that's the last night I drank. I haven't drank since that because it was the last night before my brother was. I'm like, dude, that was my last night. Just crazy things, man, that happened. Sorry, I didn't want me to take that.
No, not at all. When I sang what I had, it kind of hit me like, oh man, that might be pretty tough. And I saw him well up on me. He got teary eyed. We all were kind of. There was something in that room that day where we all were just feeling that same feeling of thinking almost of the worst thing that has happened in all of our lives, but still being thankful and that's heavy to even think about. It gives me chills to think about. But that song would not have been the same without Jonathan Singleton and Casey Beathard. I could have easily messed that up by trying to write that by myself or with someone else, but that was the perfect storm, perfect day. And
talk about fly on the wall. Man.
Yeah. No
Was that the only song that came out of that day?
Yeah, we just wrote that. I mean, I think we were emotionally exhausted after that day because, man, we dug on that song. It got to the point where we're like, oh, crap, this is good. And at that point, it makes you nervous when you get a verse and a chorus because you can easily mess up that second verse by just not hitting it square on the barrel of the bat. And that was a lesson 101 in songwriting, man. They really, it's unbelievable. And a lot of people, like I played the Bluebird this past week with Jonathan and Ashland Craft.
Yeah,
I played that song and several others. Everyone afterwards says, what's that song about? Counting your blessings. And I'm sitting, there's a table right in front of me, and the Bluebird is so intimate, and a woman was sobbing in front of me, and it almost got me. Like, I was like, am I going to get through this? This is tough because it meant that much to her. And a song that's really personal to me. It's very specific, and I said what I wanted to say as an artist. We all did. It was all to our lives. So for it's weird how the more specific something is, the more broad it is to everyone else. You can try to write this big general idea thinking it's going to hit the masses. Nope. Write about your life because they feel it because it means something to you. So.
Dude, I love
That's
that.
amazing.
Well, we're gonna give you the stage for the song, and we cannot wait to hear it. Y'all,
oh man,
this is gonna be badass. But we're gonna give you the stage, and y'all will be back after this song, man. This is man, I can't count that high.
Got a piece of ground under my feet, got a roof up over my head, a front porch and a couple cold beers, and a dog that loves me to Yeah, my Chevy runs a little bit hot, and the money gets a little bit tight. But when I'm adding up all the good things in my life, I can't count that high. It'd be like trying to catch the time flying. Maybe know how many stars are in the sky. All I know is I'm lucky. I ain't saying things are perfect, but I got more than I deserve and don't know why. I try to count my blessings all the time, but I can't count that high. Yeah, it's a headlight on my chest at night when the light goes out. It's a pick-me-up, buddy, it's a 7-day and sunny, it's a back road in this town. It's a pretty good Sunday best that I ought to be putting on more. 'Cause when I think about all the things I'm thankful for, now I can't count that high. That'd be like trying to catch the time flying by. Or maybe know how many stars are in the sky. All I know is I'm lucky. I ain't saying things are perfect, but I got more than I deserve and don't know why. I try to count my blessings all the time, but I can't count that high. No, I can't count that high. It'd be like trying to catch the time flying by. Or maybe know how many stars are in the sky. All I know is I'm lucky. I ain't saying things are perfect, but I got more than I deserve. Don't know why. I try to count my blessings all the time, but I can't count that high.
Oh,
That's
man.
beautiful.
Dude, I was just filled to the bone, just like this over here now, watching that and listening, dude. Thank you for that song. Thank you so much for that song, because we talked about it many times here before. That's a song that's going to be here way after any of us ever will be. That song is going to be 100 years from now. People are going to be listening to that song.
Man, thank you for saying that.
Dude, I just love that. That song's gonna go down and stand the test of time for sure, dude. Because it's one of those gems, man, that we are lucky to have. And thank you, dude. Thank you for that song.
Thank you.
Blown away by it, dude. Just the lyrics, everything about it, the delivery about it, everything about that song. Dude, before we move into our after show and everything else, I'll give you a few minutes of break. We're gonna wrap up the show, and any final words from you at all, man? Before we wrap up.
Man, I got to say this. Thank you guys for just supporting independent artists and just artists and songwriters in general. Without things like this and avenues to really spread the word, I feel like songwriters are just now getting a chance to truly be in the spotlight with things like the Bluebird Cafe. I mean, that's always been around, but I don't feel like it's ever been as popular as it is right now. But we still need voices that spread the gospel, I guess, if you'd say, and definitely on the independent artist side of it as well, because it takes every single person, man, meeting you at Joe's and everyone else at Joe's, and like, we're going to be buds. We're all going to, keep in touch, and that's all part of the ride. So I just really want to let you guys know how thankful me, and I'm sure so many other artists and songwriters
We appreciate it, man. And that's why when I saw you coming to Joe's, dude, that's why I reached out. To your management, I was just like, hey, I'll come up there. I got a camera. Let me take some photos for you. That's your first night there, dude. You want to be able to capture what you can. Yep. So that's why I was able to be able to get out there and do that for you, man. I wasn't going to miss that for the world, dude. Because like I said, I've been following you for some time now and been a huge fan of yours. So the minute I heard you were coming to Joe, like, I'm there. I'm going. Listen, that was actually the day we lost. Like, actually, a couple hours before the show, we lost my wife's grandma. And so she was unable to come that night. I had my friend Nate. But I had to leave. Unfortunately, I had to leave right after your set, so I missed Abbott. But dude, I was, like I said, I was blown away by your set, and I could have loved to listen to some more. Yeah, for sure, dude. That was a hell of a good night, man. So
well, we'll be back.
Hell yeah, man. We can't wait. We're excited. So, but thank you so much for spending tonight with us. Go ahead and take 5 minutes, man, and we'll bring you back here about like 8:15 or so, probably. So bring it. Give it. No, I haven't made a few minutes after 8:10, but yeah, take a couple minutes and we'll bring you back on, dude. Thank you for everything, man. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
All right, dude. Yo, that was an awesome, man. I had a blast. Like, I know we ran over, but damn, that was so much fun.
I think we could talk to him for another 2 hours.
Like, the stories I wanted to ask, we'll have to bring him back down the road because that was amazing to have Wyatt on. Like I said, y'all, he's fastly becoming one of my favorite songwriters. With what he's putting out and artists, dude, this what he's doing and the show that he put on at Joe's, like literally, normally bars are loud. Like when you go to bars for the opener, they're loud. He had them. He captivated that audience with those lyrics.
Oh, absolutely! I'm sure. I wish I was able to see him live, but next time for sure.
It's awesome. So cool.
Very
so
cool. Yeah.
But thank you for joining us tonight on episode 117 with Wyatt McCubbin. The drive and passion that Wyatt demonstrates is making waves in Nashville. His songwriting is true and heartfelt, and I want to wish Wyatt nothing but the best. I can't wait to see what he does in 2022. Don't forget to catch up on everything you missed from tonight and past episodes at gainingfastonmemphis.com. Oh, before we hit the show outro music, I want to throw this in there. It's kind of funny. So I always say gfom.com.
You always makes me nervous when you're like, oh, by the way, I'm going off script.
I always say gfom.com. Like, check us out at gfom.com. I will not be saying that after today no more.
GFOM?
Yeah, because I looked into buying that domain today, and the person that owns it or whatever wants $25,000 to sell it.
Yeah, no, we'll stick with Gainin Fast.
Yeah, we're good. I can have gfom.live. I'm like, I'll go with that instead for $20.
Yeah, no, we don't have $20,000.
All right, y'all. Join us next week. Another amazing singer-songwriter coming in. We cannot wait. If you're on our after show, about 5 minutes from now, we're going to be going live on our Patreon page. Check it out. We got 2 more songs with Wyatt, and we're going to wrap up with him. We cannot wait to
head on over to Patreon if you guys want to join us tonight. Tiers start at just $1. You guys can sign up, and we'll have a couple more songs from Wyatt tonight. So,
all right, y'all. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Is brought to you by Arlo Revolution. As we close the book on another chapter, remember, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Next week, Aaron connects more melodies and memories with other fans and the artists they love. Thanks for being a part of this musical journey, and we'll see you next time on the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Schreiber.